Season 49, war number 8, and we are against Matrix. We have the bands Colossus, Domino, and Professor X, and my team is going to be Dust, Mr. Negative, and Black Widow Clairvoyant. And we're going to start on Path 8, and this is going to be a very interesting war. We're going to be taking quite a few fights with Mr. Negative, who is basically the star of this one. Even though I think Claire is going to take more fights than him, but I've taken Claire to like every war this season. I don't want to talk too much more about her. But we're going to start against this Maw on Node 8, and this is just about as textbook as a negative fight can go. I'm going to go for the evade here with 9 energy, and then I need him to throw his SP1. He's going to kind of chill out for a little while. He won't throw it, but here he does. I'm going to get rid of the Fury on myself for another light energy, and then I want to knock him down as soon as I can, get a nice reparry there, heavy attack, and now his focus is gone. So I go for the evade here, and he's just going to die from this SP2, and that's going to be lights out for Ebony Maw. Really simple, and yeah, even if I got degened on myself, I might have had some resistances. Because Negative takes 40% less degeneration damage per unique debuff on the opponent. So if I have a unique debuff, then I will definitely take less degen damage and stuff like that. But next we're going to fight this CGR on Node 17. Very interesting placement because usually I fight CGR on Node 4. In fact, I've done CGR on Node 4 for 7 wars in a row now. But on this one, the 8th, I finally fought him on a different node, and this one is largely the same as the other one, because it has personal space Fury, so I do have to worry about him gaining a Fury Judgment, just like on the Node 4 version. But anyway, when the buff immunity is active, I don't need to worry about that. He's going to gain 1 there, but it's okay. I just need to make sure that I throw my special attacks constantly, and he cannot throw his special attacks if the buff immunity is not on himself. And then pretty much we're just chilling at that point. He's going to die with the combo right after, and that was a relatively fast Claire fight. And now we move into Section 2 against this Kindred on Node 20. This is a placement that Negative really doesn't care about. It just means I get buffs on myself, which I get rid of for light energy. It's probably supposed to combine with Kindred's atrophy mechanic to where MD becomes a big thing, because Kindred doesn't really benefit from you having buffs on yourself. It just means that the atrophy will take advantage of that. That's kind of all that matters for Kindred on this node. I don't know why I didn't go for an... Okay, so I wanted to go for an SP1. That's why I didn't go for the evade there. Either way, that SP1 might have been a mistake, because now when I throw my SP2, he's going to be at a lot lower health, meaning that my degens might tick him down before I'm ready for the root. Here he did cross into an outbreak, which is really annoying. I do have some degen resistance per unique debuff again, so we barely took any damage there when we went for the parry heavy. You want to do a parry heavy because when you knock Kindred down with a heavy attack when he's in his outbreak, it'll start expiring about 70% faster, I believe. So we're going to go for this SP2 here, and then I want to throw it with as high power as possible, just to be ready for the root. And here, the root's coming, but I don't have my special tech lined up for it, but I do have 2 unique debuffs, meaning that when he throws his, not when he throws, but when he activates his degens on me, I'm going to be taking a lot less damage, and as you saw there, it was pretty much a non-issue, so... Okay, so now we have Dust, and this is Dust's only fight against this Kingpin on Node 29. The reason I got Dust assigned here was because we needed someone's Dust to take this Kingpin, because we need some kind of shock immune mutant to take this EMP mod Kingpin, and Dust is one of the only shock immune mutants in the tactic pool, especially when Colossus was banned. Or Colossus might not actually be shock immune. I might have lied there. I don't remember his immunities very well. But either way, she takes this fight really well. Again, always shock immune. EMP mod means literally nothing. So we just need to get to an SP2, activate our Sandstorm, and then the Kingpin is just going to die. We are going to purify the sand stuff constantly. He's not purifying it himself because we have the prowess from X Magicka preventing that. Either way, I'm going to go for my special 2 here. I just wanted to get a little bit of power efficiency, but I did not need it, and you're going to see why right here. because we just are going to cycle SP2s just like that because of power backs. So definitely did not need the not need the power efficiency because we just killed him that fast, but better safe than sorry, I suppose. So okay, now we have Mr. Negative against Sasquatch on node 38. I've taken this fight like 10 plus times, so going into it, I was not feeling very nervous whatsoever. But it's gonna be a bit of a rough time. I'm gonna go do my normal negative rotation for this fight specifically, where I build up 8 or 9 of my light energy and then throw an SP1. That's a conversion, and it allows me to trigger Ebb and Flow knockdown, and my basics do a little bit of damage before I throw my SP3, because I always know that one SP3 is not going to do it against this guy, especially when he's rank 3 at least. So I needed 2 SP3s, and I'd rather risk one less chance of an unfazed trigger by converting with SP1s than going straight for an SP3. So basically, at this point, the fight is very much in my control. I'm going to go for a parry here, and then try to convert my light energy, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to go to charge my heavy to trigger my evade. He dashes back again. He's in Wrath now, so I'm like, okay, he's probably going to dash in now. He dashes back a third time, and now I'm getting hit. And I'm like, dude, okay, I'm getting close to my corner now. I'm starting to panic. I'm gonna, like, eat a heavy attack somehow. I don't even know how I ate the heavy attack. I'm stuck in the corner, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. I need to knock him down with the relic. So I knock him down, we throw the SP3. All because I lost all that health because he wouldn't dash into my heavy attack. And I'm like, dude, you've actually got to be kidding me. You were in Wrath for part of it and still dashed backwards. It's so frustrating. And here, I'm gonna just completely ignore, like, right back at it, because my brain is just messed up at this point after how frustrated I was. And then I just disregard right back at it, and then let go of my block, and then I die in a combo. So that's my third death of the season, to a fight I've soloed like 10 plus times, and I know the fight perfectly fine. And my phone like rotated because I like threw my phone after that fight, because of how frustrated I was. All because he wouldn't run into my evade. Granted, I could have turned that fight around if I paid more attention right back at it, but my headspace was just so messed up after being in that corner that I let it go, and it was definitely my fault, but at the end at least. But like 10 plus times of taking this fight and soloing it. This is the first time I've ever died with negative in war. I've never had a single death with negative in Alliance War until this one, to a fight that I know exactly how to take. So it was really upsetting. I'm gonna do it perfectly fine on the second attempt. We're gonna go for the relic, we're gonna go for the knockdown, and then he's just gonna die after the SP3. So yeah, third death of the season, first death ever with negative in war, again, a fight that I've taken countless times. So I was so pissed off after this one, but I've still got like 3 more minis to take, so I needed to keep my headspace as fine as I could. And we're gonna start off against this Super Skrull on node 42. This was the Claire fight I was worried about the most. I have 3, including this one, 3 Claire minis. 4 minis in total, but 3 of them with Claire, and we're going to be fighting the Skrull on 42. I was a little bit nervous about this one. It's going to go pretty fine, not too big of an issue. You saw me attack with one eye open. That's because when the protection is up, I really don't care about hitting him with one eye open because it doesn't matter too much. I'm gonna skyrocket to SP3 here, which I didn't really mean to do, but because of the fact that my buff immunity triggered so many times and I had like a 200% power back active, it might have been 150%. It was power back regardless. I went to SP3. I didn't really want to, but at least Claire's SP3 does solid damage, so there's that. Yeah, 76k, and it pushed me like 1.5 bars of power, so that's cool. Here I'm gonna get the falter off of me and then go for a heavy attack. Am I going to parry heavy? I think I'm baiting his heavy, actually. And then I'm going to go for a really risky punish. I think I was worried about spacing, which yeah, I thought the final hits of his heavy might hit me, but they didn't, and I don't think they would have had the chance to in hindsight. But in the moment, I was worried about like the last 2 hits of his heavy hitting me, so I just threw it. In hindsight, I should not have done that. I should have just waited for the heavy attack to finish instead of risking throwing it in the middle of his heavy attack. Luckily, it didn't matter. So here we're just going back in, probably going to cycle another SP2 into SP3. I go for the knockdown. Maybe I should be throwing SP2s with the protection up, just to prevent me skyrocketing to SP3. But also, like, going to SP3 is not bad, like, clearly, because of how much damage it does. So, yeah, we're just going to finish him off just like that. So, fight that I definitely did not need to be worried about, and, yeah, so, next fight here. I believe these last 2 fights are fights I took last war. I apologize that's kind of stale at this point, me fighting Sersi on 45 and Adam on 47, but I'm just getting assigned a bunch of Claire stuff, and even though it does feel a little bit of the same thing, this one's gonna go very differently than the one I took last war did, so there's that at least. Once again, I completely ignore the stupid interaction that Glancing has, where if you chain your special attack immediately after a basic hits, the Glancing is going to stop on activation special attack abilities, because for some reason it does that. So my buff immunity did not trigger there because of that, which I still think is one of the stupidest game mechanics that exist, but whatever, it wasn't that big a deal. It just meant I went to SP3 when I did not want to at all. I want to be throwing SP2s in this fight. Unfortunately, I'm at SP3 now, but I'm gonna throw my SP3 here. It's gonna not do a lot of damage because I didn't have a lot of clairvoyance charges, but that means I reset, so I want to get to another SP2, throw that out, and then I'll be okay. Block the SP1. The main thing in this fight that I was really worried about is just making sure I never push her to SP2, because while I know I can dex it, I accidentally got hit. I didn't expect her to throw it. So here I'm at another SP3. I still have not gotten 1 buff immunity off this whole fight. Like, legitimately, I have not gotten a single buff immunity on Sersi. And here, I'm just actually worried about dying at this point. Like, dude, I'm screwing this up so much. Anyway, back to her SP2. I know I can dex it, but at the same time, if you mess up dexing Sersi's SP2, you just die. So, I don't want to do that. So we're just gonna keep baiting her SP1s. I finally get a buff immunity on Sersi. Like, I was waiting for that for so long. But we get it. And then I'm gonna dex her SP1 again. And then I can start healing back up, finally. Because since I need to stay in my bleed curse this whole fight, I can take advantage of the SP2 healing me. The only annoying part of that is the shocks that I'm getting from the shock phase obviously count towards despair, so my healing is going to be lower, assuming they have that mastery activated, which they probably do. So I'm going to go for 1 more SP2. This one, she legitimately could have parried that, because I was spamming my special button, and it still wouldn't activate until, like, the stun started falling off. It's weird how the timing works for stuff like that, because I was spamming the special button on the first one I launched from a parry, and then the second one came out later than when I was doing it at the same time. It's just weird how that works, but she didn't block it. That's what matters. I'm not even going to worry about it, but last fight against Adam Warlock on 47. Joke fight for Claire. Done this fight so many times. Actually, I'm going into this one with knowledge that I didn't have for, like, some of the recent ones. I think I used this knowledge, like, the last time. But this one and the last time, I learned that I, for some reason, thought that Adam can block break you, like, trigger his unblockable on any hit of his SP1. But then someone from my alliance told me that it was only the first hit that could break your block. So I'm actually going to be blocking the beams of his SP1s if he throws them a bit more often than I was previously, because I always thought that you could like get your block broken by the beam of his SP1 just like you did with the initial hits. So I waited out his pod, and then yeah, he's just about dead already. So That's going to be my war. 8 fights, 7 solos. Still a very disappointing death. 3rd death of the season. Very unfortunate, but we did lose the war too. 4 deaths. They played really well, and we just kind of had some weird path deaths. It was not a great war for us, especially my battle group, but it's all good. We are now 4-4, so we broke even. And currently, this is what some of my stats look like for the season. I don't usually go into a lot of stats, but I figured it was worth showing off. As you can see, I've died 3 times this season. Every death is in the yellow. The yellow gets closer to a red, like if it's a repeat death, but I haven't had a repeat death in a long time. But you can see the top with the champs I've used. And then the 3 deaths I've had, 43 Serpents. When Claire's death immunity got caught by insult to injury, didn't really realize it, but in hindsight, I should have been more aware of that. 49 Killmonger, I just missed a lot of parries in that fight, and the 38 Sasquatch was, yeah, you saw that. So overall, my season's going really well, and if I can like clutch it out for the last 3 wars, then I'll be definitely happy with how it ended. I also realized I just kind of showed off what I did for War 9. Ignore that part. Just, like, the 5 of you who are watching at this point in the video, just ignore the War 9 part, because you'll see that, like, in 2 days or so. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.